Now, human genes were flowing into his body, along with Ansie's blood. Perhaps once I'm dead and you completely eat my body, you'll obtain a lot more teens. Ansie looked at the cave ceiling, a smile tugging at the corner of his lips. Then it seems I will have done something meaningful as well. Although I don't know if it will be good or bad for you. Without saying anything, Ansie moved his entire body towards Ansie. He hugged Ansie's shoulders with his newly grown human arm, and many hyphae flowed forward and piled up next to Ansie to support his sagging body. The only sounds in the quiet cavern came from the dying human's gasping breath. After a long time passed, Ansie finally spoke up again. I'm someone whose life had no meaning. I don't have any outstanding qualities whatsoever, so it's very normal that they abandon me. In truth, I'm very happy to not go back to the human base. Just like the wilderness, they are both places where only people with value can live on. I have wanted to die for a long time already. I just didn't think I'd encounter a gentle creature like you before I die, little mushroom. Ansie didn't really understand the meaning of those words such as value or die. He only caught that phrase once more. Human base. As he leaned against Ansie's shoulder, he said, I wish to go to the human base. Why? Ansie asked. Ansie lifted his left arm slightly and made a gesture with his fingers, seeming as though he wanted to grab a bit of the air, but he grabbed nothing at all. It was just like his body. His body was empty. A massive void had formed in the innermost depths of his body. Impossible to feel and impossible to heal, and its wake was an infinite hollowness and panic that clung to him day in and day out. Sorting out the words of the human language, he slowly said, I lost my spore. A spore? My seed. He didn't know how to explain. Every mushroom will have spores in its lifetime. Some will have countless spores while others will have just one. A spore was a mushroom seed. It will grow out of the lamella, be dispersed by the wind to any random place within the jungle, take root wherever it landed, and turn into a new mushroom. Then this mushroom will also grow up, little by little, and have its own spores. Raising spores to maturity was a mushroom's sole lifelong mission, but he had lost his only spore when it was far from maturing. Ansie slowly turned his head, and Ansie could hear his bone click like an old piece of human machinery when he did so. Don't go there. The human's raspy words speed up. You'll die. Ansie recited that word once again, die. Only humans can enter the human base. You won't be able to escape the judge's eyes. Ansie coughed a few times, then drew a labored breath. Don't go, little mushroom. Confused, Ansie said, The human abruptly grabbed Ansie's hyphae with great force, and his harsh breathing became more hurried. Listen to me. After violently trembling and gasping for breath, Ansie slowly closed his eyes. In a very soft voice, he said, You don't have any attack power or means of defending yourself. You're just a tiny little mushroom. Sometimes Ansie deeply regretted telling Ansie about wanting to go to the human base. If he hadn't told Ansie, Ansie wouldn't have spent his final moments undeterring him. Perhaps he could have listened to Ansie tell a story, or perhaps he could have taken Ansie away from this dark cave for one last look at the fluctuating aurora in the sky. but Ansie's eyes will never open again. The brief memory disappeared into the air, just like how Ansie's life suddenly disappeared from this world. In front of Ansie there remained only a snow-white skeleton. But he had to go against Ansie's wishes regardless. He slowly uncurled the fingers of one hand. A brassy cylindrical bullet shell made of metal quietly lay upon the delicate skin and pale lines of his palm. It was very heavy, and there were some incomprehensible but definitely unusual grooves on its surface. He had found it at a place where he lost his spore, and ever since then he hadn't let go of it. Supposing there was still a 1 in 10,000 chance that he could get his spore back, then this 1 in 10,000 chance lay with the bullet shell, a human creation. With a soft sigh, he put the bullet shell in the animal skin backpack Ansie left behind, then bent down and picked up the clothes that Ansie had once worn, a light grey long-sleeved shirt stained with blood, hardened black overalls, and black leather boots. After doing all of those things, he walked towards the cave exit. As he walked, the slightly baggy clothes rubbed against his skin, and tiny electric currents traveled from the nerve endings hidden beneath the skin to his core. Ansie, who had taken human form for the first time, wasn't used to it, and he frowned as he rolled up the loose shirt sleeves. The vines that had accumulated along the long and windy cave walls jostled each other, but when Ansie passed through, they receded like the tide and settled on the cave ceiling. 3 turns later, a moisture-laden wind blew in. The mushroom pushed aside the withered vines dangling in front of the cave mouth, and vast swaths of mushrooms, his kindred, stretched out as far as the eye could see. They seemed to extend up to the sky, and everything was quiet, with no sound to be heard. Dim daylight shone in from between the cover of the mushroom caps, and the grey sky twinkled, a lustrous, volatile green. Ansie smelled rainwater, fog, snake slug, and decaying plants. It was still evening. He sat down beneath the cape of the light grey mushroom nearest to the cave entrance, and took out a yellow map from his backpack. The map was covered with blocks of color that varied in shade, which indicated the degree of danger in the different areas. Ansie had once pointed out to Ansie the approximate location of the cave they were in. It was the darkest part of the entire map, which meant that it was a region that boasted 6-star danger level and pollution levels, and it was named Abyss. On the map, the area containing the abyss had also been marked with many strange symbols, so Ansie checked them one by one against the legend in the lower right corner. The marks meant that within the abyss were scattered dense growths of mushrooms, cannibal vines, cannibal shrubs, simple mammalian monsters, hybrid mammalian monsters, common reptilian monsters, poisonous reptilian monsters, winged monsters, amphibious monsters, hybrid polymorphic monsters, humanoid monsters, and so on. At the same time, within the abyss there were also geographic features such as canyons, hills, mountains, abandoned human cities, and the remnants of roads. The top of the map corresponded to north, and his gaze traveled all the way up. On the upper right of this colorful map, there was a pure white area marked with a bright red star, and the area name was written to the right of the star, Northern Base. The green lines in the sky intensified, and the color behind it darkened little by little into pitch blackness. At midnight, as At midnight, Ansi managed with difficulty to recognize the stars in the sky. He knew the brightest one was called Polaris and could be used to navigate by. So he pointed the upwards facing arrow on the map's upper left corner towards Polaris and walked out over the king wood, fallen leaves, ivy and soil, one step at a time. Although it was nighttime, it wasn't dark. In the sky, those shifting green lights, humans call them the aurora, illuminated everything up ahead, and all Ansi could see was mushrooms. Yellow ones, red ones, brown ones, all with massive gaps. Small ones that clung thickly together on the mountain rocks. Round puffballs that lay scattered on the ground and would, after maturing, release fog-like clouds of spores. Upon landing, these spores will split open upon the damp fallen leaves and soil and grow into spherical puffballs just like their mother. There were also mushrooms with no caps, consisting of only white or yellow stems that were either grouped together or radially separated. This swayed in the wind like seaweed. But there was not a world of only mushrooms. Vines, mosses, shrubs, cannibal flowers, and twisted trees quietly concealed themselves in the night. In the jungle of plants, dark shadows and strange shapes, either animals or fusions of humans and animals, ran, howled, and fought. Animals fought against animals, animals fought against plants, and plants fought against plants. High and low-pitched howls beat against Ansi's eardrums, and the rocks and soil were mixed with fresh blood stains of various colors. He witnessed a pine tree bend down its trunk to devour a long snake with jet black scales and two tails. He also saw a massive toad extend and curl its bright red tongue around a flying bat that had human arms growing out of its back. 5 minutes after swallowing the bat, a pair of black wings grew out of the toad's bumpy and slimy back, soft and furled. This was only one out of 10,000 sights the mushroom had seen, and he had long ago become used to them. Right at that moment, a great animal with 4 eyes and a body covered with scales, feathers, and fur walked over. Its head resembled both a crocodile's and a massive wolf's, and 7 teeth protruded from between his lips. It approached Ansi and sniffed him with its blood-red nose. Unmoving, Ansi quietly stayed next to a mushroom and breathed evenly until he had been sniffed all over. The huge monster seemed to have gained nothing, turned around and lumbered off. Ansi realized that nothing would notice him even if he was using a human form. Perhaps because mushrooms could be found all over the place, lacked nutritional value, weren't aggressive, and sometimes even contained toxins. So he and they seemed to be creatures from 2 different worlds, peacefully coexisting. Perhaps Ansi had been correct. He was a tiny little mushroom.